Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for joining us. And if you're watching our video after the fact, we are excited that you're watching this. We hope that this proves valuable time well spent. And I get the privilege to ask my favorite person, one of my favorite people.
Yeah, you got to be careful on that one.
I know, I got to be careful. Um, I would say my mentor, my guiding light, my just the person that has helped me so much in my life, Dr. Beth. And
Dr. Beth.
the
And the
all
crowd roars.
so I have been working with you for several years, and you have done amazing work for so many people. And I wanted to take this opportunity to just have a Q&A session with you because I think there's so much that you can share to everyone to help them in their business, to help them with their families, to help them in their intimate relationships, to help them with themselves and gain that confidence and that inner compassion. And so I wanted just this opportunity to invite some friends to join us and have you share your 10 keys to compassion.
All
And what
right.
I'd like to do is share your little PDF here that will help people who are watching this see what the 10 keys to compassion are all about. But I'd love for you to explain, and those that are listening, if you want to participate and join in, I'm sure Dr. Beth will ask us some questions on how we apply it. So take it away, Dr. Beth.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Thank you, Marcy. So I want to brag on Marcy a second. Marcy, I met, gosh, it's been almost 20 years, right, Marcy? It,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
been almost 20 years. And we were Insta friends from the very beginning. We had a similar coach that we worked with, and we have just been on the same path of love, compassion, playfulness. And she went through my 10 keys to compassion, has been certified in my 10 keys to compassion, has taught the 10 keys to compassion, and is now coaching with me the 10 keys to compassion. So as I am attempting to touch more and more lives and get out there in a bigger and bigger way and walk my talk, double dog dare myself to get out there. I am also walking my talk by having a village, and Marcy is phenomenal in my village. So you'll see one of the keys that I'll talk about here in a minute is organize your village, key 9. One of the examples of that is having people around me that help me get out there, and I help them. I double dog dare them to shine, and they double dog dare for me to shine. So we are walking our talk in this journey. That's why we're doing this. And Marcy, take that down just 1 second and let me give everybody a quick overview of the inner family and what I thought we might do is just we did this in the last recording. So if you want more details, there's drbeth.com/free stuff. You can get a book that it says, if it's not fun, it doesn't get done. And it's my whole inner family zoo chart. Like, this is like super 7-year-old stuff on steroids. So it's really, really organized. It gives you the characteristics of my inner family, the needs of my inner family, how to make each part of your emotional development family have fun, tons of information. So if you go to drbeth.com/free stuff, you can get into my Double Dog Dare membership. You actually get a copy of my Mom's Choice best-selling book called Embracing Defiance, helping your child express their unique voice while keeping your sanity. And you'll get an ebook on that, so you can read through the whole thing. And if you want to actually learn how to use this stuff, we're going to be talking to you towards the end about how to join the Power Hour. and how to be a part of the community that's actually walking our talk, and we're dishing it up with each other every week. So the inner family, quick overview. The inner 3-year-old is the most young, vulnerable part of ourselves. This is the part that wants to feel safe. The super 7-year-old, dun, 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 the super 7-year-old is the one that wears the cape. It's the one that is trying to be a good girl, good boy. This can be the perfectionistic part of ourselves, the structural, the organized, gets all our toys organized, going for the goal. And so the super 7-year-old, I would say at least 85% of the world, especially the successful people in the world, many of them have mastered the super 7-year-old. Some of them might even be a tiny bit stuck in the super 7-year-old. So part of my job as America's teenologist is to help people transition out of that perfectionistic, good girl, codependent, um, fantastic, brilliant part of yourself into, and you may not like this, and you may think I'm absolutely crazy, and some of my stuff is crazy sauce, into your teenager, into your inner teenager. So, Marcy, tell everybody what you think the inner teenager is, and Amy, I'm coming to you next.
Okay, so it can be a couple different things. So I'm going to pick the personality that says, "Ah, no, rolling my eyes, like whatever, I'm not going to do that." The one that just has something to say, the one that I say knows it all and everyone else is stupid.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Amy, I'm going to go to you, and then I'll pick up the pieces if there's anything you guys leave out. What's the inner teen to
Um,
you?
oh, the inner teen to me is definitely goofy and irreverent and playful and even sometimes caustic if necessary.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
no problems saying what's on my inner teenager's mind
Yes.
and um, hiding a lot, holing up in the troll hole too, and just not being part of the family.
Hiding under the covers, hiding under the covers. One of the best ways I know when I've found my inner family, my inner teenager, is the F word. So if you ever have the F word that is in your mind, that is your inner teenager. And it's like, just because you say so doesn't make it so. It's the one that is rebellious, defiant, wants to look at the world differently. And some people would say, why, Dr. Beth, would you want to bring out the inner teenager? And this is why. Because the inner teenager is our authentic self that is closest to our divine wise self. So the inner 3 is young, just can hardly even put words together when you go into a puddle of mush. And there's 2 sides to each of the kids. There's the not fun part of the inner 3-year-old, which is just crying, or the 3-year like woo, and just is completely out of their mind. Just they have no groundedness. Then the super 7-year-old has 2 sides too. There's the super 7-year-old that gets stuff done. I mean, this is like the part that got me through my doctoral program, got me through my dissertation, got me through my licensure. I mean, she is on fire. And then there's the overwhelmed part of the super 7-year-old when you're like, I can't, I'm 7. I'm in 2nd grade and I'm trying to run 1,000 people in my business. I'm trying to raise a family. I'm losing my mind. So when you're in that overwhelmed space, you're playing too small, you've gone too young, and you're in your super 7-year-old. So the inner 7-year-old comes along to take care of the inner 3-year-old. The inner teen comes along to take care of the inner 7-year-old. And the inner teen is like, whatever, take a chill pill, get over yourself. Um, it's your authentic passion, your purpose, your authentic voice. And a lot of times I forget the fourth character, but the fourth character is the 30,000, 60,000 foot part of ourselves. That is the observer, the witness, the ideal parent, the divine wise guide to the inner family zoo. So does that seem clear? Anybody have any questions about that? Anything I said different? But I'll say one more thing about the inner family. You can actually be in your 3-year-old pretending to be in your super 7-year-old. You can actually be in your in your super 7-year-old pretending to be cool and like you don't care and whatever, but you're really so perfectionistic, you'd never want anybody to know that you're really not going for it. So, and we all have all of this. So even a 3-year-old, a logical, chronological 3-year-old has an inner teenager. They have a defiant, especially the new kids that are coming in. They get this construct. They understand the 3-year-old, the 7-year-old, the teenager, and they even understand the wise self. Many times with the wise self, what they talk about is their wise self, like all the kids I've ever asked, their wise self is about 21 years old. And I say 21, they go, no, wait, 27. So that your wise self is about as old as you can see yourself in your greatest, grandest version of yourself. So now that's the inner family. Anything I left out, Marcy, that you think I should bring up? Amy, anything on the inner family zoo?
I think that touching on the idea that the inner teen is the one who helps the 7-year-old
Speak her truth.
admit or understand the greatness that where the and you may have mentioned this in a different way, but I was just thinking about the teenager, the brags that we
Yes.
do where we're like, I got out of bed today. That's
Woo,
where the
woo.
teenager is reminding the 7-year-old how great they are.
Yes.
And that being the form of protection to some degree.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well said. And one of the things that I do on many of the power hours is I will start the call giving everybody a chance to brag. Because if you give your teenager, your inner teen, permission to brag, then it starts to fill up the coffers of that bottomless pit super 7-year-old that's telling you you're never enough, you're not doing it right, you need to do more, you should, ought to be better than you are. So the inner teen is like, get over it. I'm already good enough. I'm fabulous as I am. Let me tell you how good I am. And so we actually encourage that aspect of ourselves to fill our confidence so that we can then step out and own our power in the world. Thanks, Amy. Good call. Good call. So, Marcy, anything else?
And I was just going to add, when it comes to that wise, divine person or figure, some who are faith driven might think of that as Holy Spirit.
Yes.
And so being open to that type of energy, that's who we're talking about, that wise sage, that the all-knowing, that one that can see the whole picture and
all love
doesn't have the emotions, and can talk, some calm wisdom, I guess.
Yes. And, not to be sacrilegious with what Marcy just said, but one of the things that I say in the power hour is until you connect with your own divine wise self, borrow mine. What would I say? And once you get to know me, you will see how much I absolutely love and adore everything about you. When you're swimming through the vomit pool, when you're in your entitlement, when you're in your young 3-year-old defiance, when you're trying to be the good girl and you're just kicking yourself in the foot, like whatever it is, there is a part of me that resembles that. Been there, done that, if not in it 5 seconds ago. Um, and as I've learned to love that in myself, which is the 10 keys to compassion. So let's go into that. These keys are what help each and every one of us become connected to our divine wise self. These are the keys that help us become the greatest, grandest version of who we want to become. So, key one, dun 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 dun. The name of the game is compassion. The name of the game is compassion. If you think you have to be right, you can win the battle but lose the fight. And what I mean by that is, do you want to be right or do you want to be in love? Do you want to be right or do you want to see your grandkids? I've got a new DrBethism, which is addiction to certainty destroys intimacy. What are you hearing me say, Marcy? Addiction to certainty destroys intimacy.
Well, yeah, I automatically think of, okay, well, if I have to be right and I'm going to die on the hill to be right, then I'm probably going to be right all by myself
Yup.
because there's no one going to be around.
Yep. Especially if you've got one person that's one righteous over here and another person that's righteous over there, divorce mania. Ba-boom. What were you going to say, Amy?
I totally get where you're coming from. I see what you're saying on that, but I see what
And I see what you're saying.
and the way I hear it is more of addiction to certainty, like being able to, not necessarily relationally, but being the person who needs to know what's going to happen tomorrow,
Yes.
and that is also a recipe for disaster because you got no control. I can't even control laying here without crying. I can't
Yes.
control anything.
Yes.
So
We can't
that
control
to
others.
me,
We can't control ourselves. We can't control the weather. We can't control our environment. Yes, 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 Amy. That addiction to certainty as well. Spot on. You want to say anything else?
Yeah, I was just going to agree because that's when we try to control the situations because everything else feels out of control. So we try to control the people in our lives that just repels them.
Yes. Yes.
It's
And
a
this is
vicious
where
cycle.
the inner teen helps. Whatever. Like in 15 years, who will matter? What will matter in 50 years? No one will even know we're here. Like in 100 years, we're a speck of dirt. Like if you can get to the insignificance, then you can celebrate the significance. If you can allow yourself to be in the uncertainty, then you get to have the pleasure of what is. And that is the 10 keys to compassion. Key one, falling madly in love with what is. And this is one of my favorite questions is, what's perfect and divine? So I just had a car wreck. What's perfect and divine? I just got diagnosed. What's perfect and divine? I just got bumped off the airplane. What's perfect and divine? Pick a story, pick a situation, whatever it is. When I can find the golden nugget, the gift in what is. And if you look for purple, you find purple. If you look for red, you find red. If you look for like whatever you're looking for, you get to be right. Which brings me to the second key, which is own your story. So whatever you're telling yourself, that's your story. Whatever you're enrolling your friends and your family and your kids and how stupid they are and how irreverent they are and how lying they are and how whatever story you're telling anybody and everybody around you, do you want to be right about that story? So one of my other favorite sayings is, I'm willing to be wrong about everything. Everything. I'm willing to be wrong. I don't think I am, but I'm willing. I'm willing to be wrong. And you get to be willing to be wrong and still think you're right, but just be willing, because that willingness opens the door to listening. It opens the door to curiosity. It opens the door to connection. The certainty, the righteousness, the my way or the highway, my story is what my story is, shuts down and kills all of us. So Marcy, what are your takeaways or thoughts around key 1 or key 2?
I think that when we can start realizing that we have a story, I mean, because the record in our minds plays constantly, that remuneration, I mean, is constant. And so just by bringing awareness to our stories, we can start hearing what our stories are. We may not be aware of it even. And
Yes.
if we are, then it's, how has that shown up in my life, whether I want it to or not, or sometimes, like, sometimes it benefits me too.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
always a bad thing.
exactly. And what I would say is, how's that story working for you? Because what if every single solitary thing that you come up with in your life, it's all made up? It's all a perception of how you view life. It was passed down from millions of years, or your, at least, your parents, or at least whatever you learned, in kindergarten today. But it is a story that we tell ourselves. And if it's not working, are you willing to be wrong? Amy, you have anything else to say about own your story or compassion and how they relate to you? Nope.
I was just thinking recently about a guy that I used to know in high school, and he would always say his greeting was always, "Hey, what's your story?" And it took me the longest time to figure out what the hell he wanted. But now that's what I'm asking myself on a daily basis. What is your story?
Yes. And I actually have a poster on right on my mirror as I walk in. And the message is, what story do you want to live into today? What empowering story do you want to live into today? I'm going to tell one really quick story. You just reminded me, going young. There was a young boy that could not read, and he was in the 3rd grade, and he could not read one word. And he started learning about these concepts, and he got that he had a story that he couldn't read. And he was like, that's just ridiculous. And the person that had told him that was a kindergartner or a 1st grade teacher that told him he couldn't read. And he swallowed that nonsense, believed that message, turned that into a lifelong belief system, owned his story, and true to form, he couldn't read. When he said, this is a bunch of bunk, he started reading, and that same child became salutatorian in his high school. Went from not reading in 3rd grade to salutatorian in high school. So I could give you so many stories and examples of this, but the power of what we tell ourselves is so incredible. And we're going to be talking more about this. I'm going to be rolling out a new power hour. It's probably my most powerful tool I've ever created. I've used it on myself numerous times, and it's a 21-step process to take some of these stuck stories. If you're like any one of the 3 of us, just because anybody says so, like, it's just a story. That doesn't make it so, and you still hold on to it like a dog on a bone. So I had to come up with my own unraveling of my stories, because I knew it was a story, yet it still felt real. And I couldn't let go of it. So this is for the hard nut cases. And that's coming out coming out soon. Wait for it. Wait for it. All right. So the next key is key 3. And this is one of my favorites. Mirror, mirror. If you spot it, you got it. Now, you might have heard a lot of people talking about mirror, mirror, and they usually talk about it in a negative sense. They usually talk about it from a place of, somebody's whiny and you say, "You're whining," and they say, "Mirror, mirror, whiny, 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 whiny." Everybody's a whiner. But one of the ways I love to use mirror, mirror is anyone and everyone in my life that is emanating their greatness. I think to myself, "Ooh, I love their mirror. Ooh, that's me." I remember there was a time in my life when I was um really hurting financially. And I had a friend in my life that was a multimillionaire, and I loved her mirror. You know, they say that the five closest people around you are the most reflection of who you are and where you are. But anyway, mirror, mirror in a positive or mirror, mirror in a negative. And I want to make one caveat here. If you use any of these concepts on someone else, beware, you will be screwed. You cannot use these constructs on somebody else's porch because it'll come back and burn you right in your face. It'll burn you bad. So I'm only owning my mirror. I'm only exploring my mirror. I'm only owning my stories. I do not get to take your inventory. And if I'm over on your porch and I'm taking your inventory, that's one of the examples of non-compassion. So beware, beware. Go ahead, Amy.
Can you explain a little bit more? Like, I know what you're saying, but when you say being on somebody's porch or taking somebody's inventory, can you just give a brief, like, that means telling somebody what they are, what they aren't, or what they shouldn't do?
Yeah, it is basically me telling you anything and everything about you that's none of my business. None of my business. Only thing I can control is my own thoughts, my own reactions, my own choices, my own behaviors. And anytime I'm over there telling you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to do it, this is one of those addictions to certainty. This is one of those controlling maneuvers that we're trying to control someone's behavior, control someone's attitude, control someone's response. That is what I call getting on somebody else's porch. Marcy, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you summed it up.
All right, all right. So, anything else on mirror, mirror, you guys? Did I miss anything? We take each one of these keys during the power hour and we go into it head first, upside down, inside out, from the 3-year-old, from the 7-year-old, from the inner teen, in relationship, in our business. And each one of these constructs can be utilized any number of ways, which brings me to key 4, my favorite, playful messy. And it's once you get through key 1, key 2, and key 3, it's like a soup. And your brain, your little super 7-year-old's like, okay, how do I love everything? Okay, what's my story? Where am I being, what's my story? Where am I trying to control others? Where am I on somebody else's porch? Where am I? What's my mirror? And it's like you're trying to do it right and be a good girl and be a good boy and do this. So key 4 is like throw it all out. The key 4 is all about there's no such thing as failure. And I had a coach that told me one time, Beth, you are playing way too small. Way too small. If you're not failing, you're not even on the court. So if you are attempting to do life without any mess, this is going to be your fun key. Marcy, talk to us about playful messy, baby. Tell me what you think.
I think you're using the word fun wrong here. Just gonna say that my 7-year-old hates this key. Very chaotic. But it works, and sometimes you have to have a breakdown to get a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And this would be the key that catapults that, I would say.
I love it. I love it. I was interviewing one of my young adults, and she was talking about being in breakdown and how she was willing to play with failure. And this is, I mean, her brilliance, like literally, she is brilliant, and her willingness to let herself fail has been I can't even, I don't even know the word for it. It is life transforming. So playful messy, if you let yourself get in this space and really, really hang out, and if it's not messy, you're not playing full out. And if you have everything in certainty and everything in a box, you'll live in a small world. So the more you want to step into your greatness, the more you want your kids to be able to step into their greatness. Reading a book right now, 10x is easier than 2x. The more you're willing to 10x yourself and 10x your life, this gives you the permission to get out of the box, blow the box up. What box? And so that's playful messy. Amy, you want to add anything on playful messy? All right. So once you get into playful messy, what usually happens next is full on feelings. So, and you got one part of yourself that's trying to do key 1, 2, and 3. You got another part of yourself that's attempting to give yourself love and compassion and playfulness. And key 5 is affect. Feel your feelings, name them out so you don't act out on somebody's head. So what we end up doing when we don't allow ourselves to feel, we become these pressure cookers. And if you can't feel you're mad, and you can't feel you're sad, and you can't feel your pick a word, then you don't get to feel your happiness, your joy, or any of the other words. Because when you damp down the feeling, you damp down all feelings. And that's where all the addictions come into play right now. The addictions to drugs, the addictions to gambling, the addictions to workaholism, the addictions, pick a word, pick all the addictions. All of the addictions are attempting to damp down feelings and get back into control and try to attempt to have certainty. So when we let ourselves get out of certainty, then we can allow ourselves to have the feelings, and then you just let them flow. And if you let them flow, they go, All right. Anything you want to add on feelings, Marcy?
I think this is where, well, I was going to say we get in tune with our 3-year-old, but actually this is where you really can get in tune with all of your inner family.
Yes.
Because there's so many emotions inside just brewing to get out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the another word for inner family is emotional states. So these are developmental emotional states. And the more fluid you are in your emotions, the more loving and accepting you are in your emotions. 1, the more fun it is to live life. And 2, you actually do get to fall madly in love with what is in yourself. One of the things I like to say to people that say, I locked that up in the closet a long time ago. Whatever you've locked up, you've already been through and survived. Whatever you've locked up, you've already survived it. So this work is the work of falling in love with the part of you that survived it, giving her brags on how she has look at what she has done to get through some of those horrific wounding times that each and every one of us have gone through. And this time we get to go through with our divine wise self. We get to go through with our big sister, our inner teen that's like, screw that. Who cares? Don't let that person. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like you have the mentor and the lover and the mother and the cheerleader and whoever you want in your wiser emotional self to help you through whatever you've been through in your life, to heal it, to transform it, and to get to own it. Own it, I tell you. But that's how you fall madly in love with it. So how do we do this? Dr. Beth, what do we do? Key 6, self-care. And I call this decadent self-care. This is how you fill yourself up. So you're not a little baby bird looking for your spouse to fill you up and say the right thing the right way and love on you the right way. And you're not looking for your boss to say it the right way. And you're not looking for your kid to tell you how fabulous you are as a parent. You become that for yourself. So I call it decadent self-care. Marcy, anything you want to add? Amy, anything else on self-care?
You have to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help the people next to you.
True dat. Absolutely. And with self-care, it's not just things like take a bath, brush your teeth, go to the spa. This self-care is inner self-care. No more child abuse. One of my things that I teach is DrBeth's rules. Nobody gets to be wrong, not even me. If I knew better, I would do better. I'm doing the best I can with everything I've got, and some more stuff like that. So I don't know why I can't. Sometimes I forget them when I'm in one of these things. But anyway, decadent self-care is falling madly in love with what is within yourself and all the stuff that we're stirring up in the process. Then there's key 7, and this one is probably the most spiritual. It's probably the most I'm going to just say high level. And sometimes you might go through the 10 keys a couple of times before this one makes sense. But as you go through the keys, you will begin to trust your emotions. You'll begin to trust your messiness. You'll begin to trust your failures. You'll begin to trust that you can change your story. You'll begin to trust that what you see in others is actually a beautiful mirror reflection that you can either keep or let go of. So self-trust is coming back to complete and pure trust on yourself first, trusting your intuition, trusting your knowingness. No one can tell you what your next step is. No one can tell you how to parent your kids. No one can tell you what's right for you. No one can tell you anything about you but you. And in self-trust, we do this from the 3-year-old, the 7-year-old, the teenager. So I teach people a whole process on journaling and how do you learn about your little 3-year-old? What does she want, need, feel? How do you learn about your super rock star 7-year-old? What does she want, feel, need? How do you feel about your inner teen? What does she want, feel, need? And as you get to know these aspects of yourself and make decisions for you, then you start to trust yourself. And when I began this process, it was like, okay, I didn't trust my word. I didn't trust what I would do. I didn't trust anything about me. I lived outside myself. I lived for everyone but me. So it started with, I'm going to blink my eyes 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Winner, self-trust. So you start wherever you need to start. But the most important thing is that I trust and take care of me right where I am, and I fall in love with me right where I am. Amy?
I think that so many of us, were not allowed to think for ourselves growing up. Even as toddlers, when we were toddlers, we knew what we needed as a 3-year-old, but we weren't allowed to express that or have that because we were only 3. And so many of us got to where we don't trust anything about ourselves. Just from that alone is
Exactly.
it's fixable.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, we just ate. You're not hungry. You just woke up. You're not sleepy. You've been at school all day. You have to be hungry. Like, we have people telling us, and we don't even get to learn from our own inner check, like checking in with my mind. What do I need right now? Checking in with my heart. What do I need right now? Checking in with my body, doing a body scan. What do I need right now? We're supposed to trust the doctors. Don't trust ourselves. We're supposed to trust the teachers. Don't trust ourselves. We're supposed to trust our parents. Don't trust ourselves. So this key is easier said than done. It has layers upon layers upon layers. And Marcy, anything else you want to say about this one? All right. So if you get this far, the next key is key 8, which is intrinsic into extrinsic. Either one of you want to take a guess of what this means? Go, Marcy.
It's where things in your inner world will manifest, will show up in your outer world.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like mirror, mirror on
it's the,
steroids.
I was going to say, it's a mirror of what's happening. If you feel like it's chaos inside, it's chaos inside. If you have a leak in your plumbing at your house, there is probably a leak in your energy in your body. It's just representation of what's going on in your world, and sometimes it's there to clue us in.
Yeah. And I want to say I'm totally willing to be wrong about this. So just because, sometimes a banana is just a banana. Sometimes a broken whatever is just a broken whatever. And I'm gonna talk out of the other side of my mouth. I have always found a spiritual meaning or a metaphorical meaning or an insight into my own psyche. So this is just a game. If you take it as a profound play game, it can be powerful to awaken you to things that you haven't even seen or haven't thought of or haven't looked at that way. If you use it as a literalist and as a super 7-year-old logical, so she's saying if I have a leak, that means I'm leaky. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you have a leak, you might want to see if there is a leak. And I've always been able to find one, because if you put your brain on whatever you put your brain on, it's like a little computer. If you put it on something that's negative, it'll find something negative. If you put it on something positive, it'll find something positive. So something that's enlightening, something that'll give you new insight, put your brain on that. There's a cool way to make that. Louise Hayes has a book that's called what is it? Heal Your Life.
Yeah, you can heal your life.
And she goes through the entire body, and every time, like if you have a sore throat, it's usually because you're trying to say something that you're not saying. Your right side is all about manifestation, your left side is all about receiving and listening. And so sometimes when your right side hurts, you can look at, okay, where am I stopping myself? And sometimes when your left side of your body hurts, you can ask yourself the question, where am I not listening? Where do I need to tune in? And every single body part has a different message. And it has been ironic that almost every time I've had any symptom of anything, when I Google what's the spiritual meaning of this, it is almost always exactly what I'm going through. It's ironic. So try it. So that's intrinsic into extrinsic. And what you think about, you bring about. And if you want to create something new, you create, if you want something new in your external world, you create what you want, vision and feeling and putting yourself in the experience of it. And it's like the vision boards. So there's a ton of different pieces that go to the intrinsic and extrinsic.
Affirmations, all of
Yes,
that.
yes, all that. Key 9 is organize your village. And this village that I'm talking about is your inner village and your outer village. So organize your doctor visits, organize your friends, organize your support system, organize anybody and everybody in your life that's going to hold you and lift you up and make you into the person that you want to be. And the piece that people usually forget is organizing their inner village. So we spend a lot of time organizing what is the 3-year-old need to step into our greatness and feel safe, to let you become anything and everything that your body can shine. What is your super 7-year-old need to get to win? And what is your inner teen need to get to feel like she's a badass? She's awesome. And then the last one, key 10, is KNO, know your boundaries. So what's your take on that one, Amy or Marcy? Either one of you. Know your boundaries.
First, you have to know what a boundary is, and that's usually more about what I will accept, and then how do I fix my boundary and make that stay where I want it without getting on your porch.
Yes, exactly. So knowing your boundary is not knowing what I'm going to control you to do. My boundary is not that you can't cuss. My boundary is I'm not going to be around you when you're cussing. My boundary is I'm not going to engage when you're yelling at me. My boundary is not you can't yell at me. It's a fine distinction. And if it is on somebody else's porch, it's not a boundary. It's a control mechanism. Marcy, anything else about knowing your boundaries?
I would say this is where we got to really, for me, digging into compassion and being clear and kind when I'm explaining it, because
Yeah.
I have experienced where I get the volcano erupts and I set a boundary during that moment. It doesn't go over that well.
Yes, yes, yes. So one of the ways you know if you have set a clean, clear, loving boundary is the reaction you get. Instant feedback, instant mirror, instant external manifestation. So I cannot trust my child's yes unless my child can say no to my face. I cannot trust my spouse's yes. I can't trust my own yes unless I can say no. So having this self-trust, what were you going to say, Marcy? Having this self-trust on setting our boundaries and giving ourselves permission to say, this is what I value and this is what I'm living into and this is what I want versus this is what I don't want. So a lot of times when people are thinking about boundaries, they think all only and totally about the no. Part of boundary setting is also finding your hell yes and not moving till you find it. That's a boundary as well. So to wrap this 10 keys to compassion up, what's your takeaway, Marcy? Anything you want to add, subtract?
I love how all of these just point us back to compassion. And so thank you for putting it in a way that we have actionable items where we can take these keys and break them down, where sometimes we can only take one letter at a time, a bite-sized chunk.
Yes.
But it's all driving us back to loving ourselves, having compassion for ourselves and
First,
compassion for others.
yes.
Yeah.
I can't have compassion for others until I have compassion for myself. I can't even love you until I love and accept me. Otherwise, it's just like putting chocolate on a pig or whatever that saying is. Okay, Amy, what's your takeaway from this introduction?
I think my takeaway is I thought that Marcy was going to steal it for a second, but she's so wise. What I was going to say was that I like how all of the 10 keys really fit together. You can talk about knowing your boundaries while you're owning your story. You can talk about um, just each of those things together. You can talk about everything goes together with owning your story, and everything goes together with being compassionate and in love with what is and being messy. I like that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That is so, so wise, Amy. Yes, yes, yes. And one of the
You.
thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. I receive, I receive. Um, one of the things with compassion, if you can just kind of see compassion as a whole circle that all of this fits in, you cannot do any of the keys without saying what you mean without saying it mean to yourself. You cannot do any of these keys and connect with others without saying what you mean without saying it mean. So if you're on somebody's porch and it's coming from hate and it's coming from your little precious woundedness, it's probably not going to go so well. And the reaction that you get from your kids and your relationships and your employees, if you do not like what you are getting and the world you are living in and with and through and the way you're feeling, you can come get your power back in the Power Hour every single week. If you want to focus on the family, we got a family Power Hour. If you want to focus with the women and the inner teen badass women, you can come to the women's Power Hour, and we focus a lot on business. If you're a teen young adult, you can come to the teen young adult Power Hour. And the fourth one that's going to be starting here just as soon as I can will be the Own Your Story so your story doesn't own you. And we'll be dealing with it on what's your story around family, what's your story around wealth, and what's your story around health. So each one of those will be like a 2-month journey. That'll be a deep dive on one topic that has just kicked your tail and you're ready to dig it up by the roots. So I'm DrBeth.com. And don't forget to add a / and go get your free stuff. Join our village. Come be a part of all of it. Come find all these phenomenal people that are working with me and playing with me. And Marcy, take away, one word out.
Thank you. So I'm just going to put on the screen here so we can see DrBeth free stuff. And then we can go to DrBeth your courses, where you can sign up for any of that information. And I guess this is bragging a little bit. You can also go to my website, lightwarriorcoach.com,
Yes.
to book any kind of complimentary consultation if you want to learn more about DrBeth's 10 keys and her through coaching sessions. So
And Marcy, Amy, anything, one word out?
How about 3 words?
3
It's
words.
all
Hi, Finley.
4 words. It's all about love.
I love it. I love it. All right, you guys. Mwah.
thank you so much, DrBeth.
Thank you, Marcy. Appreciate you asking me to do this. And Amy, thanks for showing up. And we're getting ready to change Zooms and head to the Power Hour. Bye, everybody.
Bye.